All right. What's good, people? All right. I think I can show the chat here. Anyway, today we are going to be talking about communication and the different, I guess, what people talk about, like what percentage is verbal and not verbal, but nonverbal. But have you guys seen this before? You know what this is? Let me see. Switch here. Oh, it's making me share again. Hold on a second. All right. Let me share my screen here. Come on. There we go. All right. So 73855. Right. Most people have heard of this. This is an old study, but I don't really agree with it completely, but some of it makes sense. And basically, what it is 7% of communication is the words you say, and 38%. Let me just write this down so in case you guys don't know this. Whoops. 7% is the words you say. 38%. Let's just call it tone, and then 55% they say is body language, which I don't believe this formula at all personally. But whatever. It's statistics are all made up anyway, so you pick what you want to make up. I always say 99.9% of all statistics are false. Even that one. I do agree that let's just simplify. Let's just say 10% is verbal, what you say, and 90% is nonverbal. Now, people can argue all day long. Like copywriters will say, "Well, communication is all verbal, right?" And people who, um, because as far as it goes, like people listen to podcasts, right? So you don't see body language. I guess obviously, if I'm smiling, it comes across in audio as well. But the thing I think is instead of body language, the way I look at it is the most important thing in communication is what most people I've seen with it don't teach. I'd say the majority of communication, I'd say it's probably I'd agree with that. I'd say maybe 10% of what you say. And that's why I always find it interesting when people come to me or clients come to me and say, "What should I say here?" Because they're focusing on the 10% and they're missing the 90%, right? So like one of the things I say, and this is going to tie into why I believe I say 10% is the words, is verbal, right? And I say 90% is identity. Identity. So that's why I always say one of my sayings is it's not so much what you say, it's who you are when you say it, right? That is the biggest thing in my opinion, right? It's and I obviously who you are will affect how your tonality is and it'll affect on your presence, right? I do agree tonality is important. I might even say tonality, yeah, I'd probably say it's and the identity affects the tonality as well too. So this is kind of like a blanket statement, and under that, I would say we have tonality, tonality, which is really important. A lot of people I hear some really good salespeople, and in spite of their tonality, they are very successful. And I always think to myself, wow, if they stop talking through their nose, not even their mouth and throat, it's kind of like a tinny sound, tone, volume, and cadence. Yeah, that's it. Um, but having that tone, that resonance, it doesn't have to like you don't have to have like I have a pretty deep voice, but I've worked on my tonality a lot too. You don't have to have a deep voice, but you just have to be speaking from your diaphragm and not from your throat or your nose. It's a huge difference. I mean, that alone can double your enrollment rate if you really work on your tonality. So I've heard some good salespeople, but their certainty is so strong, their identity is so strong that it offsets the. It's not like their tonality is bad. It's not like Gilbert Godfrey or anything like that. but it's just like it could be so much better, and I think they would even crush it even more, right? So you have the tonality, and then you also have, I don't know, I guess to me it's going to be, it's not so much body language, right? But there is a difference. Like if I'm doing a call standing up versus sitting down, there's a huge difference, right? There's no question. But I also think, to me, I would just focus on this, right? It's not so much what you have to say, but it's who do you have to become, right? Or what do you have to let go of? I already think my premise on everyone is different, right? Than most people. I already believe that you have all the shit you need. We just got to get rid of the bullshit, the limiting beliefs, all the other stuff, right? So that you can be you, right? I know I think I've said this in several videos before, but the way I see people is, you're born and you're this perfect thing, and then you go through life, you have teachers, you have parents, and all this stuff, and you learn all this bullshit that's not true. These stories we create, that I'm good at math, I'm shitty at writing, or whatever it is, right? Um, and then we have all this bullshit, and then we have the coaching space, which is awesome, and we want to help people, which is cool. But a lot of people will do affirmations, do all these other things, and even personal development, but they never work on the shit beneath it. So they're just adding like layers of lacquer, making it look shiny, making it look really, really good. Spending all time doing mindset, all time doing personal development retreats, all these things. Where my philosophy is, you just let's get rid of the bullshit, and you're already perfect, right? So that's what I do: break down the limiting beliefs, where they stem from, and it's more of using sales to have you show up as the best version of yourself, right? So it's not that you're going to change. It's like, who do you have to become, right? You have to, who do you, if you let go of your stories and your bullshit, what can you do? It's limitless, right? I mean, it's all a continuous journey. I've done so much work, and a couple weeks ago, I had something pop up, and I got fucking triggered. It was bullshit, and I was like, wow. And I caught myself, but I had to do a lot of work on it. And I was like, holy shit, that story's still there. What the fuck? I've already done so much on that, but it happens to us all, right? So it's more important who you are when you say it. And that's where the certainty comes in, right? Because clients need certainty. People say you have to be 100% certain, right? And I say that's BS. You really need to be 200% certain as a coach, right? Because you need to be 100%. And then most of the time, your clients, they need to borrow your certainty, right? Because they don't have it. So they need to borrow 100% certainty from you. And if you lack anything less than that, then their doubt, their insecurities, their fears are going to out trump yours, or trump your certainty, right? So that's why you have to be so certain. And that's where the identity comes in, where you're sure of who you are and what you're looking for in a client, and they have to qualify themselves to you, right? So just recap, I still say this is the thing you work on: identity and who you have to be. Who do you have to become, right? Well, you got to become the person you are without the stories. So do your work, get rid of the bullshit limiting beliefs, realize you have them, first of all, write them out, and then attack, fight. I always say, even on the calls, is a good line, where you pick up a limiting belief, or you pick up even a strong, like something strong about them that's really good. I asked them, where did you learn that from? Right. So one of the questions I'll ask, I have a thing in my program where I talk about splitting the identity, because I believe the person that shows up on the call, like the clients, there's two sides of them. There's the person who was strong at one time in their life and accomplished things and did things, and I'd like to actually get a name for that. And then there's the person who's been struggling the last 5, 10 years, and it's basically, at the end of the call, it's not, do you want to join my program? It's, who do you want to be? Do you want to be the person who, when was challenged in college, that was able to get past it, this, and this? Or do you want to be the person who just continues to struggle and self-sabotage or whatever it is, right? And that's the real choice. So I'll even ask on the call, like, tell me about a time where you faced a challenge, it was really hard, you weren't sure about it, whatever objections you're getting, right? Like if you need someone to be resourceful or whatever it is, right? So you can say, tell me about a time where everything looked like all the odds were against you. You thought you were going to fail, but you stuck with it and you got past it. And they tell me, oh, this one time when I was trying out for soccer, or I was going to college, or I had this job interview, or whatever it is. They tell you some story and about how they overcame it. And that's fantastic. I go, where'd you learn that from? And then they think and they say, wow, yeah, I learned that from my mother, or I learned that from my father. And the same thing with the negative thing. Man, that negative pattern, you see that? They go, yeah, holy shit. And I'm like, where'd you learn that from? And they go, oh my God, I learned that from XYZ. So anyway, that's it for today, guys. I'm going to keep it simple. Let me see. Whoops, I didn't want to do that. I'm learning this new software. Oh, that's cool. You just double tap on it. Anyway, identity is the most important thing in sales and communication. And then, of course, tonality is very important too. But we have to work on those deep limiting beliefs or those identity beliefs and be able to reframe them or just fucking blow them out. Because if it doesn't serve you, you need to let it go, right? And you only want to carry that stuff around for so long. So anyway, all right, guys, that's it for today. Any questions? Type them in the comments or send me a message if there's a topic you want to handle. But I'm so tired of I could handle I don't even like to do tell me how to handle the spouse objection. Tell me how to handle this objection. Oh, come on. There's like a million lines out there and most of them don't work. Why do you think that? It's not what you say, it's who you are when you say it. All right, guys. That's all I got. Have a good one. See ya.